All right, so today we're tackling something I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah, definitely.
You know that feeling when you're planning a trip to like an English-speaking country?
Oh, yeah.
It's exciting, right? Like you've got your destination picked out, whether it's the bright lights of New York, or maybe you're thinking like the history and the charm of London.
hmm Or maybe even like Australia with all the sunshine and the beaches.
Exactly, like all these incredible places. But then there's this little voice in the back of your head that's like,
Oh.
wait a minute, how am I going to talk to people there?
Yeah, the language barrier can be intimidating.
It can be, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today in this deep dive.
Yeah, because you don't need to be like fluent in English to have a fantastic trip.
Not at all.
Just a little bit of preparation can go a long way.
Right, and that's what we're aiming for here, to equip you, our listener, with the essential English skills specifically for travel.
Exactly. And we've got a bunch of great resources to pull from, some detailed travel guides, some quick language guides too.
Yeah, those are super handy.
The ones you sent over. And we're basically going to sift through all of that and extract like the most valuable tips.
Like the gems.
The gems,
Yeah.
yeah, for confident communication.
Yeah, this is like your personal cheat sheet to stress-free travel in English-speaking countries,
Mhm.
you know? No more feeling lost or overwhelmed.
Exactly.
Our mission is to help you breeze through those everyday interactions.
Yeah, like navigating the airport, ordering food, getting directions.
Exactly. Those key moments where knowing just a little bit of English can make a huge difference.
It can transform those potentially stressful situations into smooth and enjoyable experiences.
It really can. And one thing that really jumped out at me from looking at these resources was just how empowering basic English can be for
Oh,
travel.
absolutely. It's not just about the practical side of things either. It's about deeper connections.
Yeah.
Like imagine you're trying to get somewhere new using public transport.
Oh, yeah. That
Yes.
can be a nightmare in a foreign country.
It can be, but instead of feeling lost and frustrated, if you know a few key phrases, you can confidently ask for directions.
Yeah, and suddenly it becomes so much easier.
Exactly. And that simple interaction can actually lead to, a more authentic and enriching travel experience.
It's just like you unlock a whole new level of interaction.
Exactly. And the resources you've provided really highlight this idea of practical benefits.
I hope they do.
Can you think of any other specific examples of how knowing a little bit of English can make a big difference on a trip?
Oh, there are so many, just think about checking into your hotel.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of just like silently handing over your passport, you can say, I have a reservation under the name.
Mm-hmm.
And it just personalizes that interaction, makes it smoother.
It does.
Or even ordering food. I've totally been in the situation where I'm just pointing at pictures on a menu.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
But being able to say, I would like to order, or even ask, what do you recommend? It just opens up a whole new world,
And it can lead to some amazing culinary discoveries.
It really can. So it's really about having that basic toolkit to handle those everyday travel necessities, getting around, finding accommodation, and of course, fueling up with delicious food.
And that's exactly what the quick guides focus on. They zero in on those high priority vocabulary areas right from the get-go.
Which makes sense, right?
It makes perfect sense, especially for someone who wants to learn quickly and efficiently without getting bogged down.
Without feeling overwhelmed.
Without feeling overwhelmed, exactly.
So where do we even start with this practical vocabulary building?
Well, the guides break it down really nicely.
Okay, good.
They suggest focusing on those key travel scenarios we just talked about, and then learning the words and phrases associated with each one.
So like what specifically are we talking about here?
Okay, so let's start with transportation.
Okay.
Airport, train station,
Yeah.
bus stop, taxi.
Mhm.
Those are the essentials.
Got it.
Then accommodation, hotel, hostel room.
Yeah.
Those basic terms.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's food.
Mm-hmm.
A huge one for travelers.
Huge.
So restaurant menu order, those are must-knows.
Makes sense.
And then to navigate your surroundings, you'll need directions. So street landmark, left, right.
So you don't get lost.
So you don't get lost exactly. And if you're planning on doing any shopping, you'll want to know price, size, pay.
Yeah. For those souvenirs.
Exactly.
Okay, so that covers a lot of ground.
It does. And there's one more category that's important, even though it's not as fun to think about.
Oh, yeah.
Emergencies.
Mhm.
Being able to say help, police, or doctor could be absolutely crucial in an unexpected situation.
Yeah, you never know what might happen when you're traveling.
Exactly. So it's good to be prepared.
Okay, so that's a really solid foundation of vocabulary.
It is. And the good news is there are tons of resources available to help you learn these words and phrases.
Oh, that's good to hear because I was going to ask about that next.
The guides recommend language learning apps like Duolingo Babbel Memrise, even Rosetta Stone.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those.
They're a great starting point, and what's really cool is a lot of them are gamified.
Gamified? What does that mean?
So it means they incorporate game-like elements like points and rewards.
Oh, that's clever.
It makes learning more fun and engaging less like a chore.
Yeah, that definitely helps keep you motivated.
Exactly. And they also use something called spaced repetition, which is a really effective technique for memorizing things.
Spaced repetition, how does that work?
Well, it basically shows you the words and phrases at increasing intervals.
Oh, okay.
So it helps to move that information into your long-term memory.
So you're more likely to actually remember it.
Exactly. And it's not just apps.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, YouTube is an amazing resource, too.
Oh, yeah, of course, YouTube has everything.
It does. If you search for things like English for tourists or travel English lessons, you'll find a huge variety of videos and tutorials.
So you can see and hear how these phrases are actually used.
Exactly. That combination of visual and auditory learning can be really powerful.
Yeah, I can see how that would be helpful.
It helps you connect the written and spoken forms and pick up on those little nuances that you might miss otherwise.
Right, but just knowing the words isn't enough, is it? You have to be able to say them properly so people understand you.
That's a really important point. The guides emphasize the importance of pronunciation practice.
Oh, okay, so how do we work on that?
Well, they recommend paying close attention to vowel sounds and where the emphasis falls in a word.
Oh, right, like the stress.
Exactly. And they even suggest recording yourself speaking and then comparing it to native speakers.
That's a good idea, actually. I've never thought of doing that.
It can be really revealing sometimes. Hearing your own pronunciation can highlight areas for improvement that you weren't even aware of.
So you can identify those little things you need to tweak.
Exactly. And focusing on those vowel sounds is key. Sometimes even small differences in vowels can completely change the meaning of a word.
Oh, yeah, like ship and sheep.
Exactly. Those subtle distinctions are important for clarity.
That's a good tip. Okay, so we're working on our pronunciation. Anything else we should be doing?
Well, here's another tip that might not be immediately obvious.
Oh, okay, I'm listening.
Start getting used to different English accents.
Oh, right, because it's not all the same.
Not at all. British, English, American, Australian, they can sound quite different.
They can, and it can be a bit jarring if you're not used to it.
Exactly. So exposing yourself to various accents through movies, TV shows, podcasts can really help with comprehension when you're actually out there talking to people.
So you're not thrown off guard when someone speaks with a different accent.
Exactly. It just takes a little bit of familiarization.
That makes sense. Okay, so we've got our vocabulary, we're practicing our pronunciation, getting used to different accents. Anything else we should keep in mind?
Well, let's not forget about those magic words.
Oh, you mean like please and thank you?
Exactly. Those basic greetings and politeness phrases. They're like social superpowers.
Yeah, they go a long way in any language.
They do. They really contribute to positive interactions and show respect wherever you go.
So things like hello, please, thank you, excuse me.
Exactly. Those are essential.
Got it. And is there anything else we should have in our pre-trip toolkit?
Yes. The guides really stress the importance of downloading offline translation apps.
Oh, yeah, those can be lifesavers.
They can, especially when you don't have Wi-Fi or you need a quick way to understand something or make yourself understood.
So things like Google Translate, iTranslate, Microsoft Translator.
Exactly. Those are the big ones.
Okay, so those are going straight on my phone.
Good, because they can really provide peace of mind. Even if you're learning basic phrases, it's always good to have that backup.
Right, like a safety net.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've done our pre-trip prep. We've got some key vocabulary under our belts.
We do.
Now let's get down to the really practical stuff.
Okay.
The essential phrases you'll actually use in specific travel situations.
Yeah, this is where the guides really shine. They organize everything by scenario, which makes it super easy to follow.
Oh, that's great, because that's exactly how we're going to break it down now.
Perfect.
So let's imagine ourselves going through a typical trip.
Okay, I like it.
First stop, the airport train station or bus station.
Right. The beginning of the adventure.
Exactly. So what are those key phrases we need right off the bat?
Well, you'll probably need to know how to ask, where is the check-in counter for?
Oh, yeah, and make sure you know the name of your airline.
Exactly. Good point.
And then when you get to the counter...
You can say, I have a reservation under the name.
Perfect. Nice and simple.
Exactly. And then once you've checked in...
You'll need to figure out the timings. What time does the flight, train, bus to depart?
And don't forget to mention your destination.
Right, of course. And then to make sure you're heading to the right place.
You can ask, is this the right platform gate for?
Again, with your destination.
Yes, exactly. These are those basic logistical questions that every traveler needs to know.
They are. All right, so let's say we've landed at our destination.
Okay.
Now we need to find our luggage.
Right. So you'll want to know how to ask, where can I find baggage claim?
Good one, and just in case things go wrong.
It's always good to be prepared with, my luggage is missing.
Fingers crossed we won't need that one.
Hopefully not, but it's good to know just in case.
It is, and if you need to exchange currency...
You can simply say, I need to exchange currency.
Easy peasy. All right, so we've got our luggage, hopefully.
Yeah.
We're ready to head to our accommodation.
To our home away from home.
Exactly. So what do we say when we check in?
Well, you can start with, I have a reservation for, and state your name, of course.
Right, and to get to your room...
Could I have the key to room? And then your room number.
Got it. And then once you're settled in...
You might have some questions like, is breakfast included?
Oh, yeah, that's always a good one to know.
And what time is checkout?
So you don't oversleep and miss your flight.
Exactly. And let's face it, sometimes things in a hotel room aren't quite right.
Oh, yeah, like the Wi-Fi doesn't work or something.
Exactly. So knowing how to say, could you please send someone to fix the... and then state the problem.
Right, so be specific, like the air conditioning is broken.
Yes, exactly. That helps them understand the issue quickly.
Makes sense. And then some other useful questions might be, where is the nearest ATM?
Mm-hmm. Always good to know where to get cash.
And of course, the Wi-Fi question. Is there Wi-Fi available? What is the password?
Those are essential for staying connected.
They are. Okay, so we've explored our surroundings. We're all checked in. Now it's time for some food.
Yes, my favorite part of traveling.
Mine too. Okay, so we're at a restaurant.
When you arrive, you can politely say, a table for people pleasers.
Stating the number of people in your group.
Exactly. And then to see the menu.
Could I see the menu, please?
Simple and polite.
Now for the main event, ordering.
You can say, I would like to order, and then the name of the dish.
Or if you're feeling adventurous...
What do you recommend?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one, especially if you're trying local cuisine.
It is, and if you have any dietary restrictions.
This is super important. I'm allergic to.
Yeah.
And state the specific allergen.
Yes, being clear about that is crucial for your health and safety.
Absolutely. And for those who are vegetarian or vegan.
You can ask, is there a vegetarian-vegan option?
Great. So everyone can find something delicious to eat.
Exactly. And then when you're finished with your meal...
Could I have the bill, please?
And if you enjoyed the service and want to leave a tip...
You can't say keep the change. But remember, tipping customs vary from country to country.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to do a little research beforehand.
So you don't accidentally offend anyone.
Exactly.
All right, we've fueled up. It's time to explore the city.
Let's go.
So if we're trying to find our way around...
You can ask, where is the? And then name the landmark or destination.
Or if you're not sure how to get somewhere.
How do I get to?
And if you're wondering about the distance...
Is it far from here?
Good one. And if you need a visual aid...
You can always ask, could you show me on the map?
Okay, so those are for general directions. Now, what if we need to take a taxi?
You can hail one and say, I need a taxi too.
Ah!
Stating your destination.
And if you want to know the fare...
How much will it cost to get to?
Once you're in the taxi.
Take me to, and give the address.
And when you arrive...
Stop here, please.
Okay, those are super helpful.
There.
Now for the shopaholics out there. What are some essential phrases for shopping?
Well, first and foremost, you'll probably want to know, how much does this cost?
Of course, they don't have what you're looking for in the right size or color.
You can ask, do you have this in? And specify the size or color.
And before you buy something...
Can I try this on?
Always a good idea, and if you found the perfect item...
I'll take it.
Simple and to the point, and for payment...
You can ask, do you accept credit cards?
Or you can specify which card you want to use.
Good point. And if you're just browsing and not ready to buy anything?
I'm just looking... Thank you.
That's a good way to politely decline assistance.
Okay, so we've covered shopping now. Let's talk about those unexpected situations we were talking about earlier.
Okay, the things we hope you won't encounter, but it's good to be prepared for.
Exactly. So first and foremost, the universal call for help.
Help! I need help.
That one's important to know in any language.
It is if you're lost.
I'm lost.
And if you've misplaced something important like your passport or wallet.
I've lost my passport wallet. Those are definitely situations you don't want to be in, but it's good to know what to say if they happen.
Exactly, for medical needs.
I need to see a doctor.
And if you've been robbed.
I've been robbed, or call the police.
Those are for serious situations.
They are. And if you're struggling to understand someone,
you can say, I don't understand.
Or ask them to slow down or repeat themselves.
Yeah. Could you please speak more slowly? Or, could you please repeat that?
And in a serious emergency,
I have an emergency.
that's a good one to know. And finally, if you need assistance from your country's embassy or consulate.
You can ask, where is the nearest embassy consulate?
Okay, those are all really important phrases to know.
They are, and they can give you that extra bit of confidence in knowing that you can communicate your needs.
Absolutely. But knowing the phrases is just one part of the equation, right?
Right. The guides also talk about these communication superpowers.
I love that term.
Me too. It's basically all about those nonverbal cues and interpersonal skills that can really enhance communication.
So even if your vocabulary is limited, you can still get your message across.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are some of these superpowers?
Well, first and foremost, be patient and polite.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is, even if you're feeling frustrated or flustered because you're not being understood, maintaining a calm and courteous attitude will make people much more willing to help.
People are generally more receptive when you're polite.
Exactly.
Okay, patience and politeness. Got it. What else?
Don't underestimate the power of gestures and visual aids.
Oh, yeah, those can be super helpful.
They can spin it things like pointing, miming, showing pictures on your phone.
Sometimes actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. And if you're really stuck, try writing things down.
Oh, that's a good tip. I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, the guide specifically mentioned that you can write down your request or your destination.
So, like, if you're trying to get somewhere and you can't pronounce the name of the place.
Exactly. You can just show them the written word.
Brilliant. Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Keep your language simple.
Oh, that's a good one.
It is avoid complex sentences and any kind of slang or jargon.
Right. Stick to those basic phrases we've been practicing.
Exactly. Clarity is key.
Got it. And here's a big one that I think a lot of people struggle with. Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Oh, yeah. That's so important.
Most people, especially those who work in the tourism industry, are happy to assist.
They are. They want visitors to have a good experience.
So if you're not sure about something or you need clarification, just ask.
Exactly. A polite request for help is rarely refused.
That's good to know. And remember, communication is a two-way street.
Oh, that's a good point.
Listen actively.
Mm.
Pay attention to not just the words, but also the body language and tone of voice.
Yes, those nonverbal cues can give you a lot of information.
They can sometimes more than words themselves.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're being patient, we're being polite, we're using gestures, we're asking for help.
Mhm.
What else should we keep in mind?
Embrace those mistakes.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning a new language.
It's part of the process.
Exactly. So don't let a few errors discourage. You see them as learning opportunities and keep practicing.
Right, turn those mistakes into motivation.
Exactly. And another thing to keep in mind is that communication styles can differ across cultures.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
What's considered direct in one culture might be considered rude in another.
So doing a little research into local etiquette can be really helpful.
It can. It shows respect and prevents misunderstandings.
Okay, so cultural sensitivity is key.
It is. And finally, the guide suggests carrying a small phrase book.
Oh, yeah, like an old school one.
Exactly. Sometimes, even with all the technology we have, a quick flip through a phrase book can be the easiest way to find what you need.
Especially if you don't have internet access.
Exactly.
So it's a good backup to have.
It is.
All right, so as we wrap up this deep dive into essential English for travel, what's the key takeaway here?
Well, you don't need to be fluent to travel confidently.
That's a relief.
It is a little bit of preparation can make a huge difference.
It really can.
Focus on those essential phrases, those practical communication strategies, and you'll be well on your way to a smoother and more enjoyable trip.
Right, so by focusing on those key areas,
Vocabulary, pronunciation, those communication superpowers.
you'll be able to navigate English-speaking countries with more ease, less stress, and a lot more confidence.
Exactly. And you know what I think is really cool about learning even just a few phrases in a new language?
What's that?
It's like you're opening up a whole new world of connection and discovery.
It is. It's like a secret door you unlock.
Exactly. So think about that one phrase that you now feel really comfortable using. Imagine yourself confidently saying it on your trip.
Oh, yeah.
That seemingly small interaction can lead to some incredible experiences.
It really can, and it makes you wonder what other travel scenarios could benefit from a bit of language prep.
Exactly.
Maybe we should do a deep dive on common cultural gestures next.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Because those can be just as important as words sometimes.
They can, and just as easily misunderstood.
Exactly. So until next time, happy travels, everyone.
Happy travels.
And don't forget to practice those phrases.
Practice makes perfect.